Hello, friends. Now we are going to study Francis Bacon of love. The stage is more beholding to love than the life of man. For as to the stage, love is ever matter of comedies, and now and then of tragedies. But in life it doth much mischief, sometimes like a siren, sometimes like a fury. Love is nothing but sharing affection with one another. All the stage which represents love more than a life of a real man. So far the stage is concerned, love is a matter of comedies and often tragedies. But in real life, love is mischievous, which is either a siren or a fury. Siren is a sea nymph in Greek mythology, half bird and half woman, which is sung to ruin the sailor to destruction. Next one, Fury. She is a goddess of fate and vengeance. She is a violent woman with hissing snakes at her hair. She attacks criminals and curses. Bacon compares the love with both the siren and the fury, which leads to destruction. You may observe that amongst all the great and worthy person, whereof the memory remaineth either ancient or recent, there is not one that hath been transported to the mad degree of love, which shews the great spirits and the great business to keep out this weak passion. If we observe the great persons of decades, they considered this love provoked their great passion, so they keep their nose away from this mad love. You must accept, nevertheless, Marcus Antony is the half partner of the Empire of Rome, and appears Gladius, Decemvir, and a lawgiver, whereof the former was indeed a voluptuous man and inordinate, but the latter was an austere and wise man, and therefore it seems that love can find entrance not only into an open heart, but also into a heart well fortified, if watch be not well kept. Bacon gives examples of two great nobles who lost their passionate eyesight in terms of love. First one, Marcus Antonius. Mark Antony, who shared the Roman Empire with Augustus Caesar, he fell in love with Cleopatra, died. Then Gladius, he was the most popular of the Decemvir, which means Council of Ten, who draws the law for Rome. He loves Virginia and seduced her. He was driven out of the Decemvir. These men are contrary in character, whereas Antony was full of sexual desire and the other one is wise. But love enter not only in open heart, but also a well fortified fort if a person is careless. It is a poor saying of Epicurus, Satis magnum alter alti theatrum sumes. We are sufficiently large theatre one of another. Bacon quotes Epicurus, the founder of Epicurean philosophy. He considered the pleasure as the end of life. Satis magnum alter alti theatrum sumus, which means we are sufficiently large theatre one to another, which means open hearted in the name of love. As if man, made for the contemplation of heaven and all noble object, should do nothing but kneel before a little idol and make himself a subject, though not of the mouth, as beasts are, yet of the eye, which was given him for higher purposes. It is a strange thing to note the excess of this passion and how it braves the nature and the value of things. By this, that the speaking in perpetual hyperbole is comely in nothing but in love, neither it merely in the phrase, for whereas it hath been well said that the art flatterer, with whom all the petty flatterers have intelligence. If a man's self, certainly the lover is more. For there was never proud man thought so absurdly well of himself as the lover doth of the person loved. And therefore it is well said, that it is impossible to love and to be wise. If a man is seeking for heaven and wants to lead a noble life, he should kneel down and pray for the good cause, not by mouth, like beasts do, but by eye with a proper purpose. Bacon notes a strange thing in love which gives courage to the flatterers, nonsense about nothing in a perpetual hyperbole, which means exaggerative manner. They made way for petty flatterers. A man thinks himself a proud person when he was in love, that is well said in the quote, that is impossible to love and to be wise. Neither doth this weakness appear to others only and not to the partly loved, but to the loved most of all, except the love be reciprocal. For it is a true rule, the love is ever rewarded with the reciprocal or with an inward and a secret contempt. By how much the more men ought to be brave of this fashion, which loseth not only other things, but itself. As for the other losses, the poet relation doth well figure them. That he had prepared Helena quitted the gifts of Juno and Phalles. For whosoever esteemed too much of amorous affection quitteth both riches and wisdom. This passion hath its blood in the very times of weakness, which are great prosperity and great adversity. Though this later hath been less observed, both which at times kindle love and make it more fervent, and therefore shew it to be the child of folly. They do best who, if they cannot but admit love, yet make it keep quarter, and sever it wholly from their serious affairs and the actions of life. If it check once with the business, it troubleth men's fortunes, and maketh men that they can no ways be true to their own ends. Weakness doesn't affect all unless they are partly loved. Those who love accept loved back. Either love has to be loved back or hated back. A man should be beware about this. Bacon gives example from Homer's poem. Paris preferred Helena over Juno, goddess of power, and Pallas, goddess of wisdom. Whosoever is affectionate towards love loses riches and wisdom. It is a weakness, and it's like a flood which swipes away adversity and prosperity. It leads us to be unsuccessful. They were best, but we have keep that love in quarter amount to pursue the serious affair and actions of life. If the love keep the entrance in the business, it troubles the fortune, but no way it is their own end. I know not how, but martial men are given to love. I think it is but as they are given to wine. For perils commonly asked to be paid in pleasure. There is in man's nature a secret inclination and motion towards love for other, which if it be not spent upon someone or a few, doth naturally spread itself towards many, and maketh men become human and charitable, as it is seen sometime in friars. Nuptial love maketh mankind, friendly love perfect it, but wanton love corrupt and embaseth it. Bacon doubts about the martial man, war person who stuck in love, and it is because of wine, and it is the danger out of pleasure. To have feeling towards others is a man's nature. When he pours love for someone, and that grows even more deeper, which makes a man charitable on love, which can be seen even in friars. Friars means religious person. Nuptial love, which means wedded love, turns a man, and friendly love perfects a man. But a wanton, which means violent love, corrupts the man and degrades him. Thank you, friends. So far, we have seen Francis Bacon of Love. Next, we will be seeing Ben Jonson's Wolf and the Fox.